it is done through computers and numbers and factors that they have to factor in, and not as much soul and passion goes into the design. Part because there's so many requirements that have to be met due to government regulations and so on and so forth, and part because nowadays, for the most part, except for a few exotics and what have you, cars are made just to sell to make money. There are always exceptions, though. In 1989, Nissan introduced the Z32 300ZX, Z32 being the chassis designation. And even though it was one of the first cars to be designed by a computer, it didn't look it. It looks as if it was made yesterday. People who don't know much about cars, still to this day, when they look at it, don't believe that it's a 30-year-old design. And even older than that, as the design started, if I'm not mistaken, in the mid-80s. This example is my own personal 1993 300ZX Convertible. I've had twin-turbo T-tops and slick tops in the past. However, I always loved the design of the convertible. There's just something special about it, especially with this roll bar that's built in, often referred to as the basket handle. It looks more exotic than it does Japanese. As a matter of fact, when Volkswagen bought Lamborghini, the first thing they did to the Diablo was remove the pop-up headlights and install headlights from this very car. So whenever you see a later model Diablo, know that those lights were derived from this car. They just fit perfectly. When I purchased the car, I bought it from the brother-in-law of the original owner. It was bone stock. It had all the original paperwork. And I set about crafting it to what I had in mind. And as you can tell, I changed a few things. It's still naturally aspirated, still has the original engine and transmission, but I helped it breathe a little better. We took it apart and did all the preventative maintenance, and then I had the plenums polished, throttle bodies polished, cold air intake, and I added a stainless headers back exhaust system to help it exhaust a little bit better. Now, people often wonder, other than sound, how does that benefit? So I'm going to give you an example. On the intake side, try breathing with a mask, as many of us are familiar with in this day and age. If you exert yourself, it becomes difficult, especially if it is a good mask that filters quite a bit. Now, on the exhaust side, imagine trying to pass gas sitting on a flat, hard surface. It's difficult. At first, nothing. Then you bear down, you push, still nothing. And then, if you push real hard, one of three things happens. Either you pop a blood vessel, you get lift and it escapes, or you crap yourself. Now imagine standing wearing a loose-fitting pair of briefs in the middle of a room and letting one fly. Nice and easy. And if you'd like to experience open headers, try standing out in the middle of a field, letting one rip in the nude. No restriction whatsoever. In turn, for all this easy breathing, the engine can work easier, giving you a little bit more power. I also put a lightweight one-piece aluminum drive shaft, a J-spec replica front bumper, a Kaminari rear bumper. I didn't like the look of the stock rear bumper because you can see the diff from behind and it just doesn't look right. This comes down, looks much better. I also went with J-spec replica rear tail lights and glow panel in the center. Gives it a nice touch. Sorry, somebody was trying to undertake me. Couldn't let that happen.
As I was filming this, the weather changed overnight as it does in Michigan, and I had to put the Z away for the winter and I didn't finish filming, so I'll have to make do. So, what do you get out of the box? You get a 3-liter double overhead cam V6 producing 222 horsepower, 198 foot-pounds of torque, with a red line just shy of 7 grand. A 5-speed manual or a 4-speed auto, which I do not recommend. It's a sports car. It's meant to be a manual. Plus, the automatic sucks. Altogether, giving you 0 to 60 in the 7s and a quarter mile at 90 miles per hour. Not fast, I know. But if I wanted the fast one, I'd have the twin turbo. With the convertible, it's about fun. It's about miles per gallon, not 0 to 60 and the quarter mile. Ever since the first time I drove a convertible, there is just something about the open air all around you. Add the fact that it looks cool and you're in business. As most stock cars go, the original exhaust restricts both power and sound. Add an open exhaust, some bolt-ons and a tune, and now you're cooking. I've owned so many cars, some better than others, some cooler than others. But every time I get into my Z with the top down and go for a ride, it puts an ear-to-ear grin on my face. I've said this many times. There are cars that some people love and some people hate. The only person that matters is the one behind the wheel, and I absolutely love this car.